morning, everybody, wherever you are, however you may be listening. This is your Wednesday wrap-up. Herb's in the house. Raj is late. Like, this is the world is right.
When he's early, do you feel worse? Or are you like, oh no, is something going on? Or are we just...
I just assume I'm late. Like, I'm like, oh man, did we not go on time?
For sure, man. Good morning. Happy to be here, man. Ready to roll.
Yeah. So, lots going on. Coach is getting fired all over the place. But let's kick this thing off with a little MLB because the World Series stage is set. The Mariners just could not pull it off. Narrowly missing. They were 9 outs away from their first World Series, and then threw a meatball over the plate. And just like they've struggled with all year, if an opponent puts up 4 runs, that about puts it out of reach for them. So unfortunately, they fall. Fantastic season for them. But now we have Toronto and the Dodgers. And as many fans here in Seattle are like, we want to see Toronto lose. It's like, yeah, I kind of want to see Toronto go win it rather than the Dodgers. When you're buying an all-star team, I kind of want you to lose.
Yeah. And that's how I am. That's what started my rooting against like the Yankees and the Red Sox in the past. I kind of like the better stories and the better put together teams versus, like you said, hey, who's the best player out there we can get? Grab them, so especially as baseball is like, we don't have any rules. Just do whatever you want if you got more money.
Exactly.
But man, you made me a de facto Seattle, I was rooting for them. And, I'm watching the scores because I think I was watching football at the time. And, it pops up and I'm like, I can't watch this. Is like, I don't see how you guys watch it sometimes because it's so tense, every single pitch, the further you go. And I'm looking and I see 3-1, 3-1, 3-1. I'm like, all right, they're holding. 4-3. I was like, oh crap. That would hurt me too. And but to your point about the World Series, and it helps that the person I'd root for most in this would be Vlad Guerrero Jr. Just never said that. How'd you come up with that fast? Guerrero would be the person I would because loved his dad. I mean, anybody who's taking bounce pitches that are bouncing the dirt and one hopping it to there and still knocking it out. How do you not like him? So I'd root for him. Like I said, not necessarily rooting for Toronto, but definitely rooting against the Dodgers to get this one done. I just hope it's a good series, though. So. Yeah,
me too. Like I think the Dodgers win in 6. That being said, the Dodgers did have an incredible individual performance to wrap that series up. Ohtani striking out 10, pitching 6, hitting 3 home runs. I think he went 3 for 4 at the plate. Incredible. Yeah. Ohtani, barring injury or something, he's going to go down as one of the best players to ever put the cleats on.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to his interpreter for helping him make sure he could get this far. Appreciate you.
Yeah, right.
But no, I mean it is. You can't say anything bad about the performance. I mean, dude's just incredible. Like I can't imagine either one of those two would have been great, right? But you combine both of those in the same game under these stakes, and you're like, all right, dude, we get it. You're the greatest. Like you're looking at the rankings, and as much as I'm talking about Guerrero Jr., Ohtani's like their ranked first person that you're going to be watching in this series. So
well, I mean, like there's Ohtani, and then there's where everyone else starts. It really seems to be where we're at today. So I mean, when you're like, oh yeah, Guerrero is awesome, you're like, yeah, we're ignoring this guy because that's a whole different thing.
The debate is, hey, so who do you think the second best player in the series is?
Right.
That's where you started at, for sure.
Yep. No, exactly. But no, I'm with you. I hope it's a good competitive series. You never want to see, a team get blown out. But the Jays have been, they were inconsistent against Seattle. So obviously they looked great against the Yankees. But they were pretty inconsistent against the Mariners. They'll need to play like they did against the Yankees to beat the Dodgers.
Right, for sure. That was a weird series with the Mariners. Either it's like, does anybody want to win? Does anybody like He's good though. It's hard for you to just say, yeah.
I get he's on the team you don't want to win, but I mean, when you're looking at it just from a player standpoint, he's an incredible player. It's it's frustrating
for sure
because he's not on our team, but but anyway, so yeah, moving into your realm a little bit. College football is bouncing coaches, and the latest one to that mix, Trent Dilfer, also gets fired. So we got firings all over the place. It feels like it's happening a little earlier this year than normal because we already have our first firing in the NFL. I'm surprised there's not two already by this morning. I thought for sure McDaniel, after that just beat down they got the other day, would have put him out the door too. What do you think is triggering how quickly coaches are getting fired this year? Because it does seem to be ahead of schedule.
Yeah. So college, I think they want time to kind of process everything and start getting kind of your ducks in a row. Like Napier was actually, I guess, the last one in college, and it was after a win, and people were surprised. Yeah. But I'm just using that to kind of for my example. But when I read about it, why they pick now, it's like, well, they're going into the bye week, so now firing him now makes more sense than because somebody else said, why not after they get beat down by Georgia later? And I was like, but it's because, hey, we go into the bye week, everyone gets to acclimate a little bit, you get some more time. In college, I think you're firing sooner because you want to see if can you keep your class together. So like if I fire now, I start on my coaching search. With my recruits, I can be like, okay, guys, we do have a plan, like, because we do want to keep you guys going here. Penn State, when they fired James Franklin, had a lot of decommit. So it's like, all right, if we hurry up and get somebody in place or at least have a plan, as soon as we hit, our new coach in December, we've got that month until the transfer portal opens to kind of, put things back together or put it to, you know what I mean? I think for that. Yeah. For the NFL, I don't know, they're just pulling the trigger. It's like, I guess we can't get through a whole season of this. I think it's really early for NFL stuff, unless I don't know. Sometimes I'm just like, you just, I guess you don't see any hope. But it seems like you said with McDaniel, where it's been trending downward for years, and then it's clearly not getting better. I absolutely agree. I think he's out the door, and it's nothing worse than to have a lame duck coach where everybody's like, this guy's about to get fired. So why would I listen to anything he has to say?
Well, especially in a situation with, sorry, Raj, we're going to talk about your team a little bit here. But, you're now in a situation where, Hill is gone for this year, probably part of next year. You're looking at, do you start blowing this thing up? And of course you have Tua, who's making tons of mistakes at this point. So I have this fun graphic that Raj is going to love.
That was a wild comment. That I turned the ball over in bunches. That's crazy. Definitely not happy, not proud of where I'm at with my play, with how I've gone about things this.
So, and the last part of that, how I've gone about things this year. Is anybody in the locker room even still following this guy? Like, he's at this point thrown everybody under the bus, pointed everywhere except at himself. I mean, if you're the ownership of this team, are you just like, hey, you know what? We missed. Like, it just is what it is. Let's tear this thing down. Because, I mean, Tyreek is never coming back to this team anyway.
Right.
Waddle is probably a little bit overpaid for what his production is. He's a great number 2, but now you're asking him to be a number 1 and stay healthy. I don't really foresee that being a thing. Mid-game, now obviously 2 is playing terrible, so it makes sense. You bring Ewers in. Do you just say, hey, maybe we roll with Ewers? Like, we're not winning games anyway. Do we see what we have in our draft pick? I don't know. It seems like there is a lot of evaluation that needs to happen with the Dolphins right away.
Yeah. Even Waller, who came in, was the one bright spot. He got hurt already. So
Yeah.
like basically A-Chain is your guy.
Yep.
And that's really all you kind of know. And even then, he's not a big bruising back. You definitely want him as a more change of speed, speed guy. Yeah, and I'm kind of with Raj there at this point. Just see what you have. I don't think he's the guy, and I don't think Raj or you think he's the guy. But what if we're wrong? You throw him out there, like you said, get an evaluation for the rest of this year. You're probably headed for a high draft pick, so you really kind of need to make a decision anyway. So why not get all the information available? I mean, like
I was just going to say, not just that, but you're still ahead of the trade deadline, right? Like we're going into week 8. The trade deadline is week 10. So, I mean, you could actually get some of these deals done where you could be getting draft picks for this coming draft if you start acting now.
Tank for Ty. Yeah. I mean, are they scared of drafting an Alabama quarterback, though, at this point? Because they had a huge thing and they got to us. So now would they get Ty Simpson? I don't know. Right? But I don't know if that plays into people. But no, and we've tried to defend. Too. I remember watching the Chargers game, and I think the first interception he threw hit off Waddle's hands. And I was like, great, a Bama guy let you down. So, all right, I'm going to defend him after that. And since that first pick, he's thrown 5 more, 2 more against San Diego, 3 more against Cleveland. I'm like, I just don't have the excuses for you. You know, Raj and I, we've always told it like he is. He's playing terribly right now. You know, I just can't say anything else about that. So I know there's some diehards that would hate that take. No, Tua's fine. No, it's bad. And when you have a team built on, Joe Burrow didn't go out and just throw 6 interceptions. That man could have won an MVP when his defense was terrible. So you can't just say one side of the ball is letting you down. The other side has to. You only had 6 against Cleveland. I know it's a great defense, but 6?
Besides, just play better. We watched Goff throw 5 interceptions and still win a game.
Right, exactly. He got them all out in the first half. It's like, all right, guys, I got you second half. We're going to forget that ever happened. Something. Like, there has to be some sliver of hope. But if you're getting beat down by the Browns, who have no idea what they're doing, it's time to clean house and reevaluate. So I think it's a great point about the trade deadline.
Well, and bringing up that piece right there, losing to the Browns, because, I mean, not all losses are equal, right? I mean, when you lose to a bad team, and not just lose, like get beat up by a bad team, then you're looking at that team like, okay, there's something not just wrong with this game. There's something wrong with this team. Yeah. And now this is something that's been on display really since the beginning of the year. But, I mean, really before the year, you had Tyreek all offseason, like, I don't want to be here. Get me out of here, and the happiest guy I've ever seen break his leg. So, I mean, you start looking at stuff like that. And, I agree crazy. Right here is they need to start making moves because at this point, like Raj said, the season's a wash. So you might as well start making moves now where you can really bring in the most value, especially if you're going to move a guy like Waddle or something like that, where a team like the Bucks could use a receiver. Now they probably go get Tyler Lockett because he was released yesterday, day before.
By the Titans. Yeah. Uh-huh.
So with Baker serving up some hospital balls, he needs some new receivers because Evans is done for the year now.
Yep. Poor Evans too, just coming back to get hurt on the first one. But Tampa Bay in the position there and absolutely needs to get a couple wide receivers. And I think Waddle's definitely worth the call. You see the talent level for sure and the speed. And like you said, his biggest problem is not being healthy these first couple of years. But chain of scenery probably good for him as well. So I think that's somebody worth getting.
For sure. And so, Raj, it makes sense that your linebacker is leading. In fact, your whole defense should be leading in tackles because you guys turn the ball over so much. You get more opportunities to tackle people.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
You guys should be just killing it in the tackle department.
Yeah. I hate it for Raj too. I told him I was going to pump up his team or be better about it, but then they're just doing this, and he doesn't even talk about them with me anymore. He's like, yeah, they're done. So I'm like,
well, I mean,
what's up, Enrique?
There's not much to there's not much to like, right? Like when you're watching film, body language, you know, I mean, just really every aspect, offense, defense, special teams, coaching, the way they act in their press conferences, you're like, man, could you guys do something well? Like, I mean, listening to McDaniel in a press conference is rough.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like he's never been in one before every time.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you don't have a writer or an agent or somebody can slip you a note and say, hey, say this. So, yeah, Nick, it just is because, you know, I know several Dolphins fans. So I'm kind of just like, all right, guys, I'll root for them. I'll pick you guys. And we're not getting rewarded at all. And then you look at the rest of their schedule and it's kind of like, where is the hope? You have a double bill of the Saints and the Jets later on in the end of November. And you have a home game against the Ravens. Who knows how that's going at any given moment. But other than that, you know, like even a game at the Falcons, you're already saying, all right, lost. I don't know what's going to happen there, you know? So there's just not a lot of hope for this season other than, and it's probably the worst thing for any fan base when your team has to give up on the year. But for the long-term health of the organization, you have to make those moves now. You can't pretend like, let's just stay the course and see what happens. You have to, for the long term, do better.
Well, and if your coaching is going to be crazy, can we get like Gruden or Rex in there? Yeah. Just because then at least it'll be entertaining even in a loss.
Yes. Yes. I feel like Gruden would get the most out of even scrubs, though. That's a guy that you always want to play for. You know, there's a lot of intensity there, at least. I feel like even the second string would come out there. So, you know, and play tough. Sometimes I don't know what's going on with him. And the fact that Raj does I'm like, hey, Raj, you want to watch the Dolphins this week? He's like, no. You know, even at our worst Alabama games, we still watching them play, you know, so that tells you a lot.
So there are a lot of surprising teams, actually. Yes. The Pats are definitely one of them. You know, Vrabel, also one of those guys. The guys
one of my favorite coaches, though. Yes. Yeah. One of my favorites, man.
Like when you think of guys that people just want to play for, it's Dan Campbell, it's Vrabel, it's, you know, Gruden, right? They get the most out of whatever's in front of them. I mean, when you think of the Titans team that Vrabel was coaching, that was not a good roster, especially at the end. And, you know, and the guys kept going for him. You look at the roster that he currently has. Before the season, how many wins did you think they were going to get? I think my thoughts for the Patriots is they have already achieved about the amount of wins I thought they were going to have this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean,
it's interesting when you look at their schedule because they haven't beaten the world. You know, it's Titans, Saints, Panthers. You know, I think the biggest surprise to me is they've played the Steelers and Bills, and you would think, okay, well, that's their two losses. No, it's actually the Steelers and Raiders. Somehow they beat the Bills, but lost to the Raiders in game one. I think that's the bigger surprise. Otherwise, they are, you know, they're beating up on the teams they're supposed to, but they were also a bottom team before, you know, so that's fair that their schedule kind of reflects that. I think they're playing well and playing hard. Right.
You know, that's
where they haven't even got to the Jets yet.
What's that?
I said because they haven't even played the Jets yet. So it's just they beat up on the Dolphins and Bills, which is also something I would not have picked. What's up, Chad? To start the season. So no, I think it's impressive. But I've always liked Vrabel. We said that several times on this show. So
yeah, no. Vrabel's a great coach, and yeah, I mean, I agree with this. The Colts are really surprising. I would not have guessed that they would be the have the best record in the league. Realistically, outside of a couple of just like boneheaded plays, probably could have been undefeated, which is wild.
Right.
And then Tampa Bay, kudos to them. I mean, they keep winning games with everybody hurt. Obviously, you know, they came up short the other night, but they were playing the Lions. So it's not like they were playing scrubs out there.
Right.
You know, the Lions also one of the best teams in the league. So
yeah,
that's where I say not all losses are equal. Like that's a good loss.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, these losses, two best wide receivers and his running back to start, and Baker's still playing like an MVP, you know, outside of the Detroit game. I wasn't surprised at Tampa Bay being good. I think they're just always very underrated. It's like we keep waiting for them to fail. They start off every year 2-0. Baker's playing well. You know, it's like it's like somebody's waiting for Bowles to fail and because they want him gone for whatever reason.
Yes.
And he's just has a steady team. Like no other team out there is like, hey, for the Bengals, let's take away, Higgins and Chase and just see what happens, But that's Tampa Bay. They find ways every single year. I mean, we easily to win the division. I think that was a slam dunk. But the way they're playing against the top teams, they're if the Ravens are the team you never want to go into the fourth quarter and have a lead because you'll blow it. Tampa Bay is the team that you never want to go into the fourth quarter and be beating because then you're like, they're definitely fighting in this fourth quarter. Yeah. We need, instead of a 2-touchdown lead, a 3-touchdown lead because they will find a way. So
exactly.
Kudos to them.
So picking up Flacco wouldn't be a bad idea. I mean, this is the best receiving core he's had. I don't know why they told you Geno Smith unless they wanted you to lose, because that dude is also turning the ball over in bunches.
Man. No, don't do it.
Yeah, I'd stay away from that. I bet you can get him, right? I'm sure he's sitting on a bench somewhere, but no waiver wire required. Like, he is a free agent, I'm sure. But yeah, Flacco, if he's available, wouldn't be a bad idea because he is going to put up points.
Geno and Tua are tied for the interception lead with 10. So that tells you all you need to know about getting either one of those. So, no.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to hurt you more than anything. You'd almost be better to not start a quarterback than what these guys are doing currently. So,
apparently, Nick, we were on a show last night and was playing his co-host Rodney, and I guess Nick has given up on fantasy football. So apparently, happy about that. Enrique Brock's been hurt too, so that's also been the problem. I don't think.
So we missed all that. You glitched out right there.
Oh, sorry. Which is sad because I'm all directly connected to everything. Nick's co-host Rodney beat him. I'm sorry. Nick beat his co-host Rodney, and Nick didn't have a quarterback playing. So that's what we found out last night in fantasy. Wow.
He had Geno. Yeah, that's too bad, man. Yep.
And I was saying about it, Brock's been hurt.
Yeah, so. I was going to say he hasn't even had that.
Yep.
But I mean, not having great receivers obviously is going to diminish your numbers, but it shouldn't diminish which team you throw it to, right?
Right.
I mean, you wear different colors for a reason. That's where if there's not separation, you're probably missing your target long. Is like missing it wide so that the defense still can't get there. But I mean, some of these have been directly to defenders. Like there's no saying, oh, that was a great play on the ball or something. Like some of these have been straight to a defend.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, that's unacceptable. So
yeah.
Oh, yep. There you go. Still to play that badly, unacceptable. There we go.
For sure.
So yeah, I mean it's the Geno situation. Obviously, as a Seahawks fan, when we traded him away, I was just like, oh man, like I don't know, like he's played great here for 3 years. Thrown for a lot of yards. He was behind one of the worst offensive lines. I was just like, oh okay, like he's doing his thing. And when he when he left to go to the Raiders, I was like, okay, like that's a solid pickup for them. Right. They got a better offensive line than we do. He has, a couple of nice tight ends. They got a running back. Like they had some pieces, a good defense. And then he's come out and been terrible. And so then we're looking at it like, oh, we saved money and Darnold's been balling.
Yeah.
We're just like, oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, cool. I guess I was viewing it wrong. So that's on me. Because, I mean, when I looked at Darnold, I was like, yeah, I mean, that's great. But he had one good year. Right. I didn't see anything in Carolina that I was like, oh, that's awesome. Or, obviously with the Jets, like none of that was good. And then, he had an overnighter with the Niners, but that doesn't really mean anything. So when he went to the Vikings, you're just like, okay, well, I mean, is this who Darnold is, or is this an aberration? Like what do we got going on? And, despite a really sloppy effort Monday night, he's been really good, and he's still got JSN like 120 some yards and a touchdown.
Yes.
So I mean, like he's out there dealing.
Yeah.
So now it's a good thing they played the Texans, because they wouldn't have beat any other team with the way they played.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. The Texans at one point, shout out to our guy Will Anderson. The defense was responsible for the same amount of points as the offense.
Yes.
Like, I don't know how that's even a thing, but they're just awful. But no, shout out definitely to Darnold. I didn't think it would work out as well as it had either. And I was with you. I thought Geno would for sure be okay with the Raiders, especially like you said, with having Brock Bowers and even Jacob Myers has been good.
Yep.
I know they're both banged up, but like you said, there's no excuse for maybe if your completion percentage is fine, down because you don't have your receivers and you're throwing the ball away or whatever. But if you're just throwing it to the other team, no, Geno, my favorite part about it is Geno, we've seen some of the highlights. Geno throws an interception. He looks like the most shocked person in the world after every one of them. He's like, where'd that guy come from?
Well, and that actually worries you, right? Like, because then you're just like, oh, he didn't even see this guy.
No.
And then you see him over there with the tablet, and you're just like, man, I don't know if the tablet's going to give you enough information. I mean, if it was the one-off, right, where there was a safety disguised,
right,
and he's out of your line of sight, cool. But I mean, we're talking about 10 picks already.
Yes. They weren't all hidden.
Right? Like, they're not Houdini out there. Like, there's some dudes that he's right there.
Yes.
So,
and you got to think of bringing in Tom Brady, as part of the ownership group, like this looks even worse because there's a guy thinking, Enrique, good to see you, man. There's a guy who's really like, hey, this is not working out. Let's go get a quarterback I like,
Yeah.
So that's got to look even worse for you. So.
Yeah, well, and then of course that's rough for Pete too, right? Because now this team is wildly underperforming, lots of mental mistakes. Those types of things directly get looked at for coaching, right? When you have a lot of turnovers, ball security issues, penalties, all things that the Raiders are good at, that starts to point at coaching. And, it's terrible to say that because he was so good here in Seattle.
Right.
Now, we did have a lot of penalties. We were still kind of a highly penalized team here. But, I mean, you need to see more out of this team. Like, as much as I didn't think he could be one of those guys on the hot seat right away, I think he could be.
Yeah. And if is this how you want to end your kind of coaching career? I mean, are you already thinking about the next one, or is this? He just doesn't seem like at this point of his career, let me hang around this organization that's terrible, or this team that's terrible, and can I rebuild them into something? I'm pretty sure they thought that Geno would be a shot in the arm and maybe they'd be a little bit better than now and have an upward path. Now you're 2-5, looking terrible, and everyone else in the division is playing a little bit, has an upward trajectory. So, and they've all got their quarterbacks in place. You're still trying to figure it out. So it just seems like they're behind. And for Pete, I'm thinking, is this how you really want to go out? Like, do you see yourself with the Raiders for the next 5 years?
Well, and even still, I mean, even if you are there for the next 5 years, so is everybody else.
Yep.
Right. I mean, you're looking at quarterbacks that are young, and Nix and Herbert. Obviously Mahomes is going to be there for another 5 years. So when you're looking at these things, the Raiders aren't like they're going to have to hit a home run in the draft getting a quarterback, because otherwise they're not going to be able to compete.
Right. Agreed.
And then, Pete is 73 now. So, I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
Like, if you're talking about a 5-year rebuild to just be competitive, that's rough. Yeah, I don't know about that.
I definitely think he stays college.
Yeah, absolutely. The other, speaking of surprising teams, I got to say the NFC West in general, with 3 teams at 5-2, was not what I saw coming. I thought for sure the Niners were going to be worse off this year, getting rid of a bunch of players, then having a bunch of people hurt. And all they do is figure out how to win games. I mean, it's amazing, actually. Frustrating as a Seahawk fan, but it's pretty amazing watching them go out and win with nobody on the roster and, sitting atop the division.
Throwing it together. Yep.
So, but that being said, we can do our power ranking. Whoa, just kidding. We got to get our radio audience out here. So if you are listening along on ICU Radio 97.3, stay tuned for some smooth jazz headed your way. Otherwise, stay tuned right here at Football-Talk on YouTube. And here are power rankings for this week. And, the other topics coming up. All right. Look down at the clock at the wrong time. All right.
So I was trying to make gestures and not be like too.
Yeah, I thought that was more like you were doing the Team America World Police, giving the sign.
It's like, all right, Herb's going a little crazy. Let's keep moving.
So, not a ton of movement. A couple of teams lost. Some of them were kind of a good loss. Like the Bucks, they fall out of my top spot there, but it was a loss to the Lions, who's also a top 3 team to me. So I mean, they just kind of shuffle around a little bit. The Eagles do look like they're starting to figure stuff out, despite not playing the best football we know they can. They also keep winning. The Bills slide a slot, but they had a week off, so I mean, that happens sometimes. No movement in the NFC West because everybody won. And you're looking at 3 teams at 5-2. The Packers sneak back into my list, and the Steelers are there. So the thing that's funny, Chad, is that final spot, right? So that 10th spot could be any number of teams, right? And they're all very flawed. So when you think about it, it's going to be like the Steelers, the Jags, the Patriots. Like none of those scream just out there blowing teams away, right? Like you look at all of those teams and you're like, okay, yeah, I mean, they're playing pretty good football, but they're very beatable. And so that 10th spot has had some cycle because there's quite a few teams that are kind of vying for that same spot.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, that's the way I kind of view that is, yeah, the Steelers are on it, but it easily could have been the Jags or the Patriots or, any one of those like 4-3 kind of caliber teams or, 4-2 for the ones that had a bye week.
Yeah. And Steelers are going to benefit too by a terrible division. Oh, I'm sorry.
No. I was just saying Green Bay is a little bit different because they have the tie, right? So.
Right. Yeah, no, I like you said at the end, you're kind of just throwing teams in there. Steelers will be fine because they'll, probably still win their division, although they already lost to the Bengals, with the spirit of Joe Flacco out there. So I don't know. You're kind of looking at your maybe top 5, top 6 as your kind of real contenders. The NFC West is going to be interesting. The fact that they have 6 through 8, and does anyone ever separate? And shout out to the Cardinals for managing to win your first 2 games, lose the next 5, and be the only team not competing in your division. So, somehow we talk about all the bad teams. They go out of the, they slide under the radar, I guess, because nobody really cares. But that is an interesting division. And like you said with the 49ers, I mean, their duct tape has duct tape at this point with the way they're holding that team together. So I don't know. You have to think that the Seahawks and Rams will overtake them at some point, but
I thought it was going to be this last week, right? You get Fred Warner hurt too, and still finding ways to win. All I do is pick their games wrong. Like if you play pick 'em with us, man. I get the Niners wrong every single week. So I got that going for me. So whatever I pick the Niners to do, just pick the opposite of me.
Opposite.
You'll probably get
it will be good. But I can't blame you for the picks because you're thinking, okay, Mac Jones, which, of course, us Bama folks love him. But I'm like, I don't think he has anyone to throw to.
Well,
So,
and he's also been banged up.
yeah.
I
So
mean,
they were dragging him off the field 2 weeks ago, right? So
yeah, I mean, like at some point you think you lose some of these games, and then somehow. Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's any other. Oh, the Broncos. That was the other one I was thinking of. Could have been in that 10th spot also, right?
man, 33 points in the fourth quarter to win the game.
Right? I mean, so there's so many teams that could be down there.
Right.
You could make a case in that 10th spot for the Panthers. I couldn't make myself do it, but I mean, you could make the case for it.
I wouldn't let you.
So I mean,
there'd be a protest.
Similarly with the Bears, could have made a case for the Bears too. They're sitting at 4-2. So I mean, that 10th spot is just like a collection of like almost.
Yeah.
So
the fact that the Panthers and the Bears are vying for that spot just tells you like there should be a protest outside the power rankings office. Like down with power rankings. 10 spot must go.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like I feel like it really could just be the top 9.
Yeah.
And really the top 8, because I don't even feel that great about the Packers, really.
No.
But
yes.
And so it was funny because what started this was Chad's comment there that they didn't deserve to be there. You can't feel that bad about losing to the Bengals in that scenario because all Flacco does is beat the Steelers. Every time he moves to a new team and he plays the Steelers, he wins. He did it with the Colts too, right? Now, you think early in his career, he couldn't beat the Steelers. And then the second half of his career, he only beats the Steelers. So, I mean, I don't know what it is, but, and then you give him a guy like Chase and Higgins. And I mean, yeah, their offense is going to be solid. Obviously there's no defense, but
right. Yeah. It's probably a quarterback's dream. Well, maybe for the line not being great, but I'm like, if I realize this offense and you guys can give me 2 seconds, I'm just throwing up to one of those guys. And that's what I think Flacco kind of knows better than, maybe Browning at times. Like, hey, I've got 2 great guys that we're paying a lot of money for who will go get the ball for me. Let's just scheme those 2 guys open and we'll be fine.
So funny you say that because I wasn't going to bring this, but we'll do it real quick because Flacco, I don't know if it was on purpose. It probably was, but but he buries Browning. Like he throws a stray his way without directly naming him.
I think I told you earlier when I got here, if you can't throw to guys, if you can't get on the same page with those kind of guys, then, what are you doing? They're pretty special. So they're, you can kind of read their body language and they get open. So it's easier to throw.
Golly.
So, I mean,
what was the question? That's what I want to know too.
Well, it was talking about, the connection between him and Chase and Higgins, right? And being there for one whole day or, one whole week, I should say. And so it's funny because the way he words that, he just like digs it straight into Browning, right? And Browning had the soundbite a week ago when they're like, oh yeah, we're bringing in Flacco and he's starting and he's like, oh, I'm pissed, whatever. And, and I get it, but at the same time, it's not like he was playing well. Right.
Right.
Like I get being mad if you're balling out and they're still like, but I mean, he was looking terrible. So of course the team's going to try and do something because that's still a very winnable division. So you're like, okay, we have some pieces. Our guy went down, but everybody else in the division just really isn't getting their stuff together. So we can still somehow win this division. And so, yeah, it's just, I don't know. Like I get where he said he was mad, but like, you don't have anything to be mad about. Like you wouldn't even be talking about grabbing a quarterback if you were playing decent. Right. But then you have Flacco come in and just like inadvertently hit you with a stray. And so it was funny. Because I don't know that he necessarily meant it that way. I'm sure he didn't. But that definitely is the way it comes across.
Yeah. I think he was just trying to praise those 2 guys and talk about, hey, you made my job 100%. Easier. But Absolutely. Yeah. Browning. I mean, you see how much, first off, they're just great wide receivers anyway, and the team has invested heavily in them. So, and one of my biggest criticism always with quarterbacks when they come in is if you've got a guy like that, and it's like when Tua first got hurt with the Dolphins and Hundley would be in there and they'd be throwing little 5-yarders. I'm like, if you have guys like that, just throw it up to them sometimes, man. Tell them go get the ball. Half the times if you just throw a decent ball, they're going to go get it. 50-50 balls is more like 75-25 with some of these guys. So just give them a shot at it. So if you're not trying them, I don't get it. But yeah, that's Flacco. Like that's all he did. Higgins, I think, returned for that game too, and he was healthy. And Flacco was like, just throwing to these two guys. Sorry if you're wide receiver number 3, you don't know. I guess it was Sovas or whatever has done well too for them. But well,
it's easy. It's easy as a wide receiver 3 when you have
those
two guys out there, right?
Yep.
So all of a sudden you're super open because it's a linebacker on you every time.
Yes.
Yeah. And
the defensive plan is like stop Chase. All right, then stop Higgins. And then like, are we really covering Chase? Okay, make sure. But don't forget Higgins. And they're like, what about the other guy? Like, what other guy?
Yeah, doesn't even matter. Leave him open. Fine. Yeah. And I mean, Bill Cowher is not wrong if you think about it, because Flacco comes and beats you. You know how you keep a guy from beating you? Bring him on your team.
And it would fit in the Steelers mold of never having a long-term solution at quarterback. Let's just keep the defense the way it is and recycle quarterbacks every year. Yeah,
I mean, to be fair, it's not like they're good at drafting quarterbacks. So, I mean, it hasn't been for a lack of trying, right? They never get the top spot because they decide to be, middling every year. But at the same time, you think of the quarterbacks they brought through, and you're like, yeah, I mean, none of them, like, even when they drafted him, you're like, right? I mean, they haven't had a guy since Big Ben. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
So,
they thought Pickett was the guy, but I feel like that was more because of where he played. Like, oh, this is destined to be versus
hometown guy.
Is he a good quarterback? Right.
Yeah. No.
Right.
Yeah, they just really haven't had an answer at quarterback. To be fair, they are actually not great at drafting much other than receivers.
Right.
But they only are good at drafting like head case receivers that only play well for them. Although Pickens is actually playing. Pickens is playing.
He's balling out for it. Yeah. That might be one of their first misses of people that let go. But we haven't seen the Pickens meltdown yet either. So we'll have to wait to see if that actually comes to fruition. But no, you're absolutely right. And do you think they sit in there and the interviews and they walk out of a wide receiver interview is like, that guy was really good. He seemed like his head on straight. Nah, not getting that guy. And they just leave the but they have the wide receiver who was crazy and banging his head against the wall and jumping up and down. That guy. That's our guy.
Yeah, see, that's their X factor. It's not like, oh, this guy has some awesome intangibles. They're like, no, this dude is a head case. This is going to be awesome.
Yes. His shelf life is 5 years before he crashes out. So we'll draft him, have him for 4, let him go when he wants his money.
Yep. I mean, it's not a bad way to go. It's basically how Seattle treats running backs, right?
Right.
As soon as you want to get paid, you're like, yeah, you should probably go somewhere else.
We'll just shuffle another person in. We'll be fine.
Man. Appreciate that, JT.
What's up, JT?
So,
Bama guys jumping in this morning.
Yeah. Always like it. This needs Saban again. I don't think that would help them.
Yeah. He'd look around that mess and go, nah, I'm good.
I think he likes his TV deal.
Yes.
And
having fun every week. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and like way more, like he's becoming more comfortable in it. It's more watchable. Because his first little bit of it, you're just like, oof, man, this is kind of rigid. I mean, that's who he is. So it's
right.
But I think Pat is kind of calming him down a little bit just because he's so crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they're actually a good pair. They kind of play off each other well. And I think Saban is showing clearly he had the knowledge, but I think he's letting his personality come out a little bit more. And so I think that's why he's enjoying it. So And
You
JT,
think, you think they get rid of Bill? You think Belichick gets bought out of this thing?
I mean, it's hard for me to say no. I don't see where I don't think they've gotten any of the positives they wanted, right?
For sure.
I don't think, yeah, for sure, win on that one. I don't think they haven't seen. I mean, I guess they saw a little bump in recruiting, right? But the wins aren't there, and it's one thing in your first year if the wins aren't there, but at least it's like encouraging, competitive. Like Colorado was bad still in Deion's first year, but the eyeballs were on them. TV deal, they were on every single weekend. The games were wildly entertaining. I mean, they lose a game by giving up a ton of points, but they also score. It'd be like 34-30 or whatever, right? And it was on every week, and that was more of a positive for Colorado. I don't see the positives for North Carolina. Besides, we talk bad about his girlfriend every single week now, right? The teams are just getting, they blew a game by fumbling at the 3 in their last game or the game before. And everybody's like, well, at least they're more competitive in this one game. But the overall effect, I just don't think has been where it's supposed. Now, do you want to embarrass a Hall of Fame coach by buying him out during year one? No, but I think there's conversations like, Coach, we wouldn't mind if you walked away from this.
Exactly.
We're okay with that. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I think that's on the last one.
Well, and I mean, the thing is it's not like I thought they were going to be good.
Right.
For everybody that was like before the season, they're like, oh, this is going to be a great thing and all of that. And it's like, yeah, I mean, first off, your first year coaching anywhere generally isn't amazing, right?
Right.
Especially in something where it requires recruiting, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I guess we're just glossing over the fact that this is a basketball school. Like, it's not like they're a juggernaut at football anyway, right? So, I mean, yeah, they're not looking good, no question. Like, that is not up for debate. They look terrible. And they look like they've actually taken a step back from where they were last year. But at the same time, this is not a school that gets the highest recruits anyway.
Right.
So, I mean, some of it, I think they need to calm down a little bit, but it's the way they're losing. That's where it looks like, I don't know if his coaching style works for college.
Yeah. And the other thing to remember when I'm going with the Deion one is he had a quarterback come with him and then a guy who won the Heisman, right? Yes. That's what I mean,
she's still in class, right? So, I mean,
Bill didn't bring anything. He didn't have any of that to go with him, and also in the Big 12, where I guess he was in the Pac-12 at that time, went to the Big 12, and then moved to the Big 12. But he didn't in his area. There wasn't as much that he had to fight against versus being, over here in North Carolina, that close to the SEC too as well. Yep. I just don't think the recruits are just flocking in, kind of like you said. And then you look at this. Our encouragement was a 3-point loss to Cal, but before that, it's like 28-point loss, 25-point loss. You've beaten Charlotte and Richmond. Yep. Yeah, didn't even know those two had football teams for real. So it's not good, and you don't see the encouragement for the future. You never see blurbs where like, hey, the 2026 class for North Carolina just got such and such. Like, I don't know where the future is coming from here. So.
Yeah. You never hear about 5-star recruits heading to North Carolina. Like, that's not. Cool. But again, that is a basketball school. Has been forever. So, I mean, I didn't think that it was going to go particularly well. I thought that they were going to lose a lot, but I thought they were going to be disciplined losses. I think that's where the disappointment is on my end. Is it's like, okay, like if it's you just don't have the talent, I'd be like, okay, yeah. I mean, it's North Carolina playing football. Like, yeah, they just don't have the dudes typically. But it's when it's undisciplined play, it's penalties and fumbles and, especially ball security stuff. Like, those are things you directly control, right? Penalties, you're always on the edge of getting one. So, sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't.
Right.
But when it comes to ball security, like, that is 100% in your control.
Yeah.
So
that would get you a win. You fumble, well, like I said, like at the 3 against Cal to lose that game. So, and shout out to they're actually 16th nationally is their ranking right now for their 2026 class. So
okay.
way higher than I ever would have thought. So I think things like that end up factoring into. So we talked about this with DeBoer, right? Because he had a top 3 class. And after the Florida State loss, people were like, oh, do we fire him? I was like, whenever you fire a coach in college, you also look at their recruiting class. If your recruiting class is 70th and you're firing the coach, you're like, don't care if we hold that class together anyway, because it wasn't there, you know. But once you start getting top 25, top 20, now that is actually a consideration. With them at 16th, that's something that they can, hey, you know, I know this year is bad, but the future is brighter. I think those are the kind of things. Like, I don't think it's going to work personally, but those are the sort of things that they look at to say, okay, we might keep this guy.
Yeah, I didn't realize his recruiting class looked that good for next year. So that is encouraging, actually.
Yeah.
So that is probably something that does keep him in his job, because I know the buyout is pretty steep.
Yeah.
Like, his buyout is only $1 million, but the school's buyout is, from what I was hearing, probably not realistic to buy him out this year. Sounded like it was going to be a huge chunk of money, but that's not unheard of from the college ranks, because we just watched a 57 or 59, whatever that was, $1 million buyout. So, I mean,
you know, you said, he would have to pay $1 million if he leaves voluntary. It dropped from 10 million to $1 million, which he'll be fine. But his salary, he's only got 20 million left.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, that's like
that. Really?
It was 30 to start. Yeah, that's what they're saying here. Bill, it would, if he gets fired him without cause, they would owe him 20 million over the rest of his initial 3-year, over the remaining 2 years of his 3-year contract. So they could walk away from this thing. Now, 20 million to spend on football for a coach in North Carolina is different than, you know, Florida or
Penn State,
Alabama, or Penn State. Yes. Yep. So I didn't realize Franklin's buyout was that big.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Like the second most after Fisher, and it would be the third most. But they do fire Norville from Florida State. His would be above Franklin's. Of course, everybody's below Jimbo Fisher's, but yeah, it is amazing. I wish, Bo, you and I can have an argument. And you paid me $50 million to leave the Wednesday wrap up.
I'd leave too. Be like, I don't even know. Here's the keys.
Here's the keys. Here's the login. Here's the equipment.
Right.
See ya.
Then I just have a new show called Yacht Life with Bo.
Oh my goodness!
This is the new port we're pulling into today.
Yeah. That's why when people are they're like, "Oh, it was unfair that he was fired," I was like, "He's okay. I'm sure he's doing just fine."
Well, especially in a sport, especially at this point, and it's true in the NFL too, is if you didn't do something this last year, you could be on the hot. Like, you could have won a national championship, have a down year. That next year, you might get fired.
Yes.
I mean, it is wild.
Yes. It is. And especially like the college level, I think is worse now because of the transfer portal. Everybody's like, look, these other teams are turning around quick. What are you doing? And it's like, you know, it's harder to sustain when you're at the top now. That's why I'm impressed with what Ohio State's doing coming off a national championship, because when you win, people poach all your players. You have no more depth. So that one guy that you like, if he's a little banged up, you don't have the backups, you know, that you want to have.
That has started to have been true as soon as the transfer portal came in anyway. Right. Because nobody wants to like fight for their position anymore. Nope. They're just like, oh, I'm not playing. I'm out of here. And in some ways it's added some parity, right? Because these kids are going other places. And so, I mean, that part of it, I don't mind. You don't see these, 10, 20-year dynasty runs. Now you're seeing a little bit more mix. The best schools are still the best schools. I mean, it is what it is. But you're seeing more of these fringe schools that might have had a random good year here and there to being more consistent, right? And you're just like, oh, okay, like I like this, right? If we're going to make it pro sports anyway, let's just do it and make it so that we have a little bit wider field here, and we are seeing that. So, I mean, since we decided to just throw out any tradition when it comes to college anymore. We might as well make it a good watch, right? Because nobody loved watching Temple get smoked by Alabama by 70 points. Like,
some of us did enjoy that, but yes, I can understand. Well, it's not good television for everyone else.
I mean, you probably weren't watching that close by the third quarter either. When you're when you're up by 45, you're probably like, you know what? I could probably go mow the grass and come back, and then it
will be fine.
Put up 21 points in that time. Like,
yes. Well, we did Louisiana Monroe 73-0. Yeah, and like I said, Norville fits in between that. I think he's 57. So the amount of money you can get paid to walk away from a job is crazy. Yeah, that's one of those where the Bama game goes from like the big screen to like the multi-view.
Exactly.
I pay attention to other stuff.
It's bad. Yes. Like it's not that enjoyable. Blowouts aren't that fun. Like when they're a massive blowout. If it's a blowout and it's like, if it's like 45-7, you're probably sitting there watching that whole game, 45-10, something like that. Because it's still exciting. There's still some stops, whatever. But when you're talking like a 60, 70 point just beat down, you're like, yeah, like I'm all right. like when the UW beat up UC Davis, right?
Right.
It was halftime, and that game was way over. And you're just like, yeah, like I don't need to watch them hang 70. So we actually ended up leaving the game early on that one because we were there. I personally would have stayed, but everybody else is like, yeah, we should go. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, they're up by 40 points already, so I get it.
Right. Hey, Chad's really on it. Yes, Win. Thank you, Win.
If we're sitting there with, $50 million, yeah, come hang out.
$50 million and no job. Like, that's the life.
I'm with it. Real quick before we get out of here, the WNBA is coming up close to their CBA expiring right here at the end of the month. And they don't seem to be getting a whole lot closer as far as getting this thing worked out. Adam Silver, who is obviously very involved with the WNBA, has no interest in giving the players the revenue share that they are searching for. So this sure feels like they got a lockout coming. Pretty wild. You're coming off of your best year as an organization, and you're going to do these negotiations in a way that will stifle your future. And this is coming down not just from the WNBA heads, but it's coming down from the NBA, right? And his argument was that the NBA makes more money, which doesn't make any sense when you think of revenue share because it's a percentage of revenue, right? So that fluctuates with however much money is made. So it's not like a 50% revenue share for the WNBA somehow pays them NBA money. That's not how percentages work.
Which he knows. It's almost like they just want this thing to tank at this point. But
I mean, it's like they're trying. So then it feeds back into my theory. Is the WNBA really just a tax shelter for the NBA? Are they actively trying to tank everything they've done? Because it sure looks like it. It's going to be tough to be a profitable organization if you don't have all your veterans coming back.
Right. This isn't like an NFL situation where you're going to go sign some scrubs to get you by at certain, at that point that people are watching. Nobody is watching your product when you just pull somebody off the street. Like, that's just not happening. You're having trouble enough when you have the Caitlin Clarks of the world out there. I don't see it, when you have, I don't know, CC Clark out there. So you're like, who is, what are we doing? Yeah. She just, yeah, like, oh my goodness. When I thought we couldn't criticize them anymore, they come up with something stupider.
Hey, they're doing work to tank their product. That being said, we do got to get out of here. We got Coast to Coast coming up next here in a couple of minutes. Otherwise, hope you enjoyed the Wednesday wrap up. Be sure to like and subscribe. We'll see y'all next week.